On this episode of Harvest Eating, we'll take a trip to historic Charleston, South Carolina to see what's fresh at their famous Saturday downtown farmers market. Stay tuned. After our visit to Charleston, I'll show you one of my favorite seasonal pasta dishes, caramelized yellow squash with whole wheat spaghetti. Then a grilled vegetable sandwich with fresh mozzarella cheese and basil mayo. And lastly, a harvest vegetable soup chock full of fresh vegetables that you're gonna love. So don't go anywhere. Oh, how I love Charleston, South Carolina. What a wonderful place for a family vacation. This historic southern city is known for its sightseeing and lovely historic architecture and preservation. Popular landmarks include the Customs House, the downtown Mercantile, abundant quaint little parks, plenty of horse-drawn buggies, a beautiful sailboat-filled waterfront, cobblestone streets, and of course, the famous Charleston sweetgrass basket weavers, who are incredibly hardworking and talented craftspeople. A trip to Charleston isn't complete without buying a hand-woven sweetgrass souvenir. Charleston is also known for its local food culture. On this warm spring day, we're visiting the Saturday Downtown Market. The Saturday Market is in Marion Square and runs from April through December and is a major attraction each Saturday morning. When visiting, you'll find local vendors making everything from authentic sweet and salty kettle-cooked popcorn, authentic French crepes, and there's also plenty of artisans and craftspeople. Lots of painters, wood turners, musicians, and even dancers all bring a special interest and entertainment to the market. When it comes to food, there is all types of local produce. Everything to tomatoes, to bok choy, Brussels sprouts, lettuce, beans, onions, and the list goes on and on. This market can provide the locals with a wide range of items that can be taken home to cook amazing dishes with. This lovely little city is one of my favorite places to visit. Today I'm with my oldest daughter Olivia, strolling around and seeing what's fresh and speaking with the farmers and vendors to learn more about the local food scene here. The diversity of produce here is outstanding and it really gets my culinary wheels turning. Now let's get started on our summertime favorite, caramelized squash with whole wheat spaghetti.
Okay, the first step in getting our pasta dish ready is to break down our aromatic vegetables. That's what's going to give it a lot of flavor. And that's going to be shallots and a garlic clove. So let's start getting this paper peeled off. And of course, if you didn't have shallots, you certainly could use onions as well. All right, now that we have them peeled, just slice them up. All right, that's the shallot. Now take your garlic clove, remove the end, give it a smash, and just break it down. You don't want really big pieces of this. With these chopped up, we're going to use some of our single estate Thoughtful Harvest extra virgin. Open the top and get it going in our pan. This has been preheating on about a medium heat. A couple of glugs of the oil. Get that swirling around. And now the vegetables here, aromatics right in. Okay, now that those are in the pan, we're gonna season them up with a little black pepper and a little bit of our kosher salt. And just start working these around. Okay, now we're gonna use a little bit of this. This is my Northern Italian seasoning, and we're going to just put roughly a half a teaspoon of that, and that is terrific with pasta. Now that that's cooking, we need to take our squash here, and this is an organic yellow squash, and these are prolific in the summertime. This is a great way to use them. So for this, we're going to slice long strips, and then we'll take these and break them down. Toss these right into the pan. We want these to caramelize. We want to get some brown color underneath. So once they have a little bit of coating of oil on them, you just need to be patient and let them sit on the bottom of the pan, and I'll show you what they look like in just a second. Okay, it's been, I don't know, about 10 minutes or so, and we're picking up some really nice caramelization on the zucchini. The next step is to add our tomatoes, and these are beautiful little cherry tomatoes. Just going to slice these in half. I'm using a little serrated knife, and that really makes it go easy. Now we're going to get our cherry tomatoes right in the pan. Get these moving around a bit. And now what we're going to do is add some of our more enriching ingredients. This is some very nice whole milk ricotta cheese, and we're going to add maybe a 1/4 cup. And then we have some domestic Parmesan cheese, very nice stuff. We won't put it all in, we're going to save a little bit for garnish. And the ricotta will kind of melt in there and it gets very luxurious. And now we want to take our pasta, and this is a whole wheat linguine, and I would definitely urge you to start using whole wheat pasta whenever you can. This has been pre-cooked and it's al dente, which means it's not cooked to death. Don't cook it to death. And take your noodles and put them right down on top. They're cold, but the steam and heat from the pan will heat them right back up. Then we're going to take some fresh basil. We're going to pluck the leaves. You've probably seen me do this a lot of times, called making a chiffonade. Just pull your leaves right off, roll them up, and take your chef's knife and slice them up. And if you can't make a chiffonade, it doesn't matter. Just get these in the pan. And you want to, at this point, come back in with your pepper, because we've added quite a bit of ingredients here. We want to make sure it all tastes good. Some pepper, some more salt, and definitely some more of our Northern Italian. Right on top like that. And now we're just going to toss this and start incorporating all these ingredients. Okay, once you have this tossed together, it looks very colorful and it's evenly mixed up, which is important. We'll turn off the heat, take our serving plate right here. We're going to switch utensils and grab some tongs. And this is just a wonderful way to serve this wonderful vegetable. And make sure you get a lot of the ingredients on there. Now, a few more finishing touches. A little bit of that Parmesan that we saved. That goes right down on top. And then we have a little bit of basil, which we'll put right in there. Now you definitely could take a little bit of raw olive oil and sprinkle it around. In Italy, they definitely would do that, but I think it's got a perfect amount. And there is a wonderful little summertime pasta that uses fresh ingredients from your garden, including that lovely yellow squash. So give this one a try.
When we return to Harvest Eating, I'll show you how to make a grilled vegetable sandwich with fresh mozzarella cheese and basil mayo. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Harvest Eating. Now let's get started on our grilled vegetable sandwich.
The first step to making our grilled vegetable sandwich is to prepare all the vegetables. We have to cut them up and start getting them ready for the grill. So this is a nice bell pepper. We'll slice a couple of the shoulders off of this bell pepper, like that, and then toss it right into the bowl. Yellow pepper. And feel free to use any combination of peppers that you like. And then a green pepper. Now we want to look at some zucchini. This is a nice zucchini. What we'll do with this is we'll take off the tip, the tail, and then it's kind of big. We'll slice it in half first, and then we're going to cut it down into strips. I think we'll get 3 out of it. So these go into our work bowl. Boy, they're slippery suckers. Get in there. And then yellow squash. Here's our yellow squash, and these are delicious grilled. You certainly could use an eggplant here if you like. All right, these go in. And then this is our last vegetable, and this is a sweet Georgia onion. Carefully peel it, and now we want to take a slice, and we're going to need like 2 of these. So we'll take good, maybe 1/4 inch slices. Okay, now these go into the bowl, and what we're going to do now is pull the bowl over here, and before we put it on the grill, we need to season it up and also give it some olive oil. This is my Thoughtful Harvest olive oil, which is very delicious stuff. Single estate oil, comes from one farm. Now we want to start seasoning it up. We're going to go with some black pepper and put a lot on because most of it will fall off in your grill pan. Okay, then I'm going to add a little bit of kosher salt. And then this is my Greek chicken seasoning, but it's also delicious on vegetables. Just like this. Now we'll grab some tongs and start to toss this together. You notice that I have not broken up the onion. I'm going to be careful. It may fall apart, it may not, but try to avoid having it fall apart. Okay, so now a lot of the seasoning is mixed. What we want to do is go into our grill. I'm going to toss my fan on and then just lay these down on your grill. Okay, our vegetables have cooked up beautifully. A few more steps. First of all, let's take our bread, and this is a nice ciabatta bread. It's got plenty of holes in it, it's rustic. And what we're going to do is slice it right in half with a serrated knife. And then my grill pan is still plenty hot, so we're just going to take the bread and lay it down on the grill pan just to help soften it up a bit. And now let's make basil mayonnaise. This is very simple. We just have a good quality mayonnaise here. This is full fat. I would not advise using the other types. And then we're going to take fresh basil leaves and just mince these up a bit. All right, toss those right into your mayo. And then just take a little spoon and mix it through. And now you have a little basil mayonnaise, a few more pieces we could put in there. And here is my mozzarella cheese, and this is a really nice specimen here. This is hand stretched, which is very high quality. We'll take a knife and we're going to make some slices of this for our sandwich, and let's try to make them fairly thin. Okay, now it's assembly time, which is the fun part. So take your bread, we want to get our basil mayo, a little bit on each side. Okay, now we'll take some vegetables and just start layering it up. We'll start out with a couple pieces of cheese, get some onions on there, and try to get a piece of each vegetable. Now you just want to press it down, be careful, and use your knife and slice it in half. And put it carefully right on your nice serving dish. Okay, there you have a really nice grilled vegetable sandwich with mozzarella cheese and some really nice basil mayonnaise.
Stay tuned. When we return to Harvest Eating, we'll be making a wonderful harvest vegetable soup. Welcome back to Harvest Eating. Now let's get started on our harvest vegetable soup.
Okay, the first step in making our harvest vegetable soup is to prepare our vegetables. First up is going to be our garlic. We've got 2 big garlic cloves. Okay, now we want to put a little bit of our Thoughtful Harvest extra virgin olive oil down in the pot. And now let's get the garlic in there. Okay, next up is going to be some onion, and this is a big onion. This is about half of a really big onion, and because this soup cooks a while, everything is going to be pretty soft at the end, so just whack right through this thing. All right, in go the onions. Let's take some carrots. These are organic carrots. Cut them in half again, and then a dice. Okay, all in with our carrots. Okay, now we want to move on to our celery. Just going to take this and split it right down the middle, and then dice it up. Now we'll get our celery into the pot. All right, now let's take a zucchini, and this is a big zucchini here, and we'll just slice it into strips like this, and give it some slicing. All right, now for our yellow squash. Yellow squash goes in. Next up is going to be a little bit of diced rutabaga, which gives it an amazing flavor. Now I've got some beautiful green beans, and the tips and the tails have been removed. We're going to cut them into about 3/4 of an inch long pieces. And as you can see, all this wonderful texture and flavor in here and color makes this an excellent soup. Okay, the green beans go down. All right, now we want to pay attention to kale. And this is what they call dinosaur kale. It's very rustic, beautiful kale. And just rough chop it. It's going to need a while to cook, probably 35 to 40 minutes. And now dump your kale in. Next up, we're going to put in some beans. These are kidney beans. These came from a can. You certainly could soak them overnight and cook them in a pressure cooker, something like that, but these are canned. And then we have some diced tomatoes and their juice. And now we want to add some of our Northern Italian seasoning in here. Again, this is sort of an Italian-inspired soup. We're going to put a good pinch of this in there. Now we'll add a little bit of salt and pepper. Now we want to take a spoon and start to stir all of this together. And that looks beautiful, very colorful, super healthy. My kids love soup like this. All right, with all those vegetables seasoned and stirred through, wanted to point out that my pasta, I'm not adding that now. I'm going to wait until about 25 minutes until the end and add the pasta. But let's go ahead and add our broth, and I'm using a chicken broth. You could use a vegetable broth. You could even use a beef broth if you wanted to. Down goes the broth. Stir our broth through and let it cook. Bring it up to a boil and then let it simmer for roughly 40 minutes. It's been about 45 minutes now. I want to take off my lid here and get the pasta down in there. Okay, we just stir the pasta in, give it about 15 to 20 minutes, and we should be ready to go. My soup is done, and I have to tell you, it looks and smells really nice. Now the last step, and don't forget this at home, you want to re-season your food before you bring it to the table. So I've got a little tasting spoon here, and let's just check it for seasoning. That's good, and actually it doesn't need any salt and pepper. It's ready to bowl up. So take a ladle and a nice bowl like this. Make sure you get plenty of vegetables in there and also plenty of the wonderful broth. And that looks incredible. The last thing I would do, and this is just me, is take a little bit of fresh Parmesan cheese for a little bit of extra garnish. And there you have a beautiful harvest vegetable soup that you can make any time of the year. I hope you enjoyed today's recipes. And I want to encourage you to find and support a local farmer's market, even if it happens to be in a big city. If you want these recipes, visit harvesteating.com to get them. And I'll see you again next week for another episode of Harvest Eating.